Here with Sarah Nemechek today, who is going to tell us about her new dance project.
Yes. So the dance that you're seeing behind you, we're working on is titled Field of View, and it's a collaborative project with myself and the dancers here of the Lane Dance Company, and Melissa Stark, who's composing music, and Ian Coronado, who's making projection, and also Mary DeWitt, who's designing costumes, and James McConkey, who's the lighting designer.
Yes, we can't forget James. Tell us a little bit about the origins of the piece and
Yeah.
the process that you used to put it together.
This piece was really fun. We started with the idea of proxemics and how we organize space around us to establish and maintain relationships. And that brought up this concept of boundaries and when we respect our own boundaries and when we don't, and when other people respect our boundaries or don't. And maybe even if we're able to perceive our own boundaries or other boundaries. So we're playing with the idea of boundaries, and that becomes a major theme of the dance. So we're working with a constraint of space. So we're confining the space to a square that's lit on the stage space. And we're playing with what's happening that you're able to see in the lit square, but what's happening just outside of the light as well.
The dancers contributed to the choreography we're going to see?
They did, yeah. The dancers were really involved in the making of the work. So we began crafting a lot of duets because we were talking about relationship. And so it was really easy to start in duets. And then I worked with them on their duets. And then I made some movement. And then we started making kind of larger unison movement that other dancers worked in contrast to. So yeah, they were involved the whole way. So some of the movement is their own, some of the movement is my own, and then some of it is a mixing of the two.
How long have you been working on the piece with the dancers?
So we held auditions at the beginning of fall term, and that's when we always hold auditions for the Lane Dance Company if anyone's interested in auditioning next fall. And we've been working since. So we had fall term, and then we started up again after winter break, and we're going to be working right on through until the concert at the end of February.
Has it been fun for you to watch the piece come together?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, pieces have a life of their own. So, when we began, I thought I was making a certain piece, and the piece that we ended up with is very different, but much more informed by the process. So through the evolution, we defined how we were going to use the space. We started with using the whole stage space, and then we decided to limit the stage space, and that opened up a whole different take on what could happen and what themes we could play with and what was too much and what was too little. And it's always exciting to see a dance kind of coming together, and then you reach a certain point where the dance has a life of its own, where you get to kind of step out of the way and let the dancers take the work and continue to take it to places beyond where you as a choreographer could even think it could go. So that's exciting.
Okay, you mentioned that you're collaborating with Mel Stark, and she's providing the soundtrack.
Yeah. So we crafted movement to begin with, and we got a real firm idea of the themes we were working with and the amount of time that we were using, and then we explained all that to Melissa Stark, and she created an original composition of music for the dance.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like when you played the music for the first time here just recently after you've been rehearsing since last fall?
Well, it was exciting. I mean, we went through a few drafts before we brought one to the studio, so she and I kind of went back and forth with ideas and different sounds to be utilized and the structure. And then the first time we played it, we weren't quite sure it was going to work. There was a lot of sound, and when we were just listening, we thought, oh, wow, there's a lot happening. But then when we did it with the movement, it made sense. Like, well, that's it. So it was really exciting. Yeah.
Okay. So we're having some guest collaborations this year. What can you tell me about them?
So this year for collaborations, we're celebrating Lane Community College's 50th anniversary, and a lot of our alumni go on to find careers in other fields. So we have people who graduate and go on to be lawyers or health practitioners or body workers or all kinds of different things, scientific researchers. But in the concert, we're specifically highlighting dancers who have graduated from Lane, who've gone on in their choreographic process and who are continuing to work as choreographers out in the community and out in communities nationally. So we're going to be featuring some alumni works, and we're also going to be featuring the works of a new work by Heidi Henderson from Connecticut College, who was a guest artist here at Lane. She came and taught classes and made a work for a week, and we're going to be sharing that, as well as kind of the usual suspects. So faculty and Dance Northwest will be sharing as well. There's one more thing that I'd like to say, okay. And I was reflecting on the process that we went through, this collaborative process, both with myself and the dancers and myself and the other artists that are involved. And it became clear to me that this is the kind of learning that Lane stimulates. The ability to look around you and see what the resources are around you and apply them for a common goal, common good, in a way that's sustainable and in a way that's efficient and effective and practical. And I feel like this piece is a perfect example of that the learning that happens in this environment can be taken to any sort of environment and applied, any sort of career, any sort of situation, the ability to recognize what resources you have and use them effectively.
That's great. That's one of the things we try to teach here.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, John.